I've done it. I've finally done it. I'm finally on the last part of this series. In the past episodes, I reviewed every NES, SNES, Game Boy, N64, GameCube, DS, and Wii Mario game. And now I'm almost done. All I've got to do is review the remaining games. Man, why am I making this so dramatic? I'm literally just reviewing baby Nintendo games. Today, I'll be talking about every mainline Mario game on Wii U, 3DS, and Nintendo Switch. Then, finally, I can compile my top 10 list of Mario games. And just a reminder that the final episode will be a video essay all about my number one pick and why I picked it as number one. So are you ready? Let's do this. Starting off, let's talk about one of the only mainline Mario games on 3DS, which is Super Mario 3D Land. I feel like people generally regard 3D Land as the worst 3D Mario, and I'm not saying it's bad at all, it's a blast really. But of the bunch, it's probably just the least great. Except for Mario 64, of course. I'm not going to go into that can of worms right now though. But 3D Land is a fun little game. Not anything mind-blowing, of course, but it does its job for what it is. It's way more small-scale than 3D World, but I think that it being smaller suits it. After all, it's a handheld game, so it's not going to be a big Breath of the Wild-sized experience, okay? The controls are great, and it feels about the same as 3D World does. I guess it looks good for the 3DS. The pixels are pretty big, however, but whatever. The level design is pretty tight, but it's actually really good. But the game didn't add any new power-ups, which is lame. The music, however, is super catchy. Fun fact, I used the music in the first episode of this series. Good job, me! The final Bowser fight is super climactic too. Not nearly as good as 3D World's. Gosh, I gotta stop comparing this game to 3D World, but it's still very dramatic. My one problem is that it's gotta be more creative and original, because except for a few exceptions, all the enemies are just generic Goombas and Koopa Troopas. It's not nearly as bad as modern Paper Mario though. Anyways, I give Super Mario 3D Land a 4 out of 5. It's usually a lot of fun, and it has good music and level design. My only problem is that I wish it was more original, but I can look past that to how amazing of a game it really is. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is about when people thought the new Soup games were getting old. They reused the exact same music, art style, and controls for 3 games in a row. Where's the Nintendo quality standard? Anyways, I dislike New Super Mario Bros. 2. Do I love it? No, I really don't. But do I hate it? Not really. You see, this game had a few coins. Maybe 1 or 2 or a million. So that's kind of this one's claim to fame, having a lot of coins. There's a universal coin counter in the bottom of the game at all times. And I guess that kind of makes it a little different from the others. Kinda? But I feel like they could have done more to improve the whole coin gimmick. First of all, there should have been some sort of shop or something where you can use your coins to purchase things. Maybe you could buy outfits or power-ups? I don't know for sure. But I do know that if they did this, coins would be more satisfying to collect, and it would help the whole coin thing in the long run. Anyways, enough about money, let's talk about the real meat of the game. And actually, there's really nothing to comment on here. The controls are great and the music is pretty alright, but they just stole this from other games, so it's hard to give 2 any credit. However, there actually are 2 fairly big upsides to NSMB2. First of all, the game looks good, and I'm not just gonna say, oh, it looks good for a handheld. And yes, obviously it reused the same art style as the others, but I actually found the colors in this one to pop a bit more than the others. It has a distinct charm. The other good thing is the level design. Because this game reuses assets from the other new Super Mario Bros. Games, it doesn't have a lot to work with in terms of level mechanics, but it definitely does its best with what it has, even if what it has is limited. But in any case, I give New Super Mario Bros. 2 a 2.5 out of 5. I thought putting it at a 2 out of 5 would be too low, but putting it at a 3 out of 5 would be too high, so I put it at a nice comfy 2.5. While the whole coin thing didn't really live up to its potential, and while it's lazy with its music and level assets, it is a lot more colorful than the others, and it's probably the best looking New Super Mario Bros. Game. Also, the level design is solid. Overall, I don't really recommend this one, but hey, I guess if you find it at a good price, it can't hurt to give it a go. Poor Wii U. The console was actually pretty good, but due to insanely cringeworthy ads and high prices, it never got to see the light of day. But hey, at least we can look at some of the games and see if they're actually good. Oh. No, this is garbage. Okay, fine, that's not actually true. New Super Mario Bros. U isn't garbage, but it does have a lot of problems. So anyways, the story of this one is... Why am I explaining the story of a Mario game? New Super Mario Bros. U is a decently okay game overall. My biggest problem is that it has almost no identity, even less than all the other new Supes. New Super Mario Bros. DS was unique for the time because there weren't any other games in the series then. Wii was the first 2D Mario on a home console in a long time, plus it had 4-player multiplayer for the first time ever, and 2 at the very least had the whole coin thing going for it. But you, it had this power-up. One singular power-up. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good power-up. But come on, man, you're gonna base this whole game's identity around one power-up? And my other complaints are pretty obvious. Yes, it's generic. Yes, it's unoriginal. Yeah, it's bland. And they barely made the visuals look any better. Here's Wii, okay? And now here's you! They're nearly identical! But with all that out of the way, New Super Mario Bros. U definitely isn't all bad, even though it may seem like I'm saying it is. For one thing, the level design is actually really good, and the difficulty progression is just right. And I know I said it's not a good idea to base a whole game's identity around one power-up, the Acorn Suit, but I'm not gonna lie, the Acorn Suit is pretty fun to use. It does feel super smooth gliding through the air with it. It also finally added new songs, and they are a bop. It's also cool how the world map is all interconnected. It's kinda like Super Mario World. But in the end, I give New Super Mario Bros. U a 3 out of 5. There may be a lot of bad things in it, like a lack of variety, and the visuals barely being an upgrade from Wii, but on the bright side, the level design is good, the Acorn Mushroom is fun to use, and the world map being interconnected is pretty cool. I personally wouldn't buy this one, but hey, I'm just some random guy on the internet, I can't tell you what to do. Do you know what's better than 2 dimensions? 3 dimensions, baby! The next game we're gonna review is Super Mario 3D World. Yeah, Mario 3D World is actually really amazing. At first when this game was announced, everyone was mad because it has to be collecting stars, and if there's a single flagpole in sight, then oh no, that's the worst thing ever. But fortunately, now that the initial toxicity is worn off, it makes me happy to see that people on the internet are really growing to appreciate 3D World a lot more, because it really is a high quality game. So the story in 3D World is actually different from, well, you know. And instead, Bowser kidnaps the Sprixies, and Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach have to go and rescue them. I do appreciate how Nintendo actually does something different from the usual Mario story. It's refreshing. But anyways, the game's controls feel great. You can move around in only 8 directions sadly, and I kinda wish you could move around in 12 like in 3D Land. But other than that, all the characters feel very fluid. The level design is great. The bosses are a little easy, sure, but they're still honestly a blast. Admittedly, some of the bosses are kind of generic, but some of them are super fun, like the Histocrat fight, the Bowser car fight, and the... What the... Bowser turns into a cat? That is the most adorable thing ever. Aww. The soundtrack is also super catchy. I just love how modern Mario soundtracks go for a big, jazzy, orchestrated feel. They did that in Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart 8, and then 3D World, and I can see they're continuing to do it in Mario Odyssey and even Paper Mario Origami King. The game looks good about 75% of the time. That other 25%? Yeah, they look like they're made out of plastic then. But all in all, I give Mario 3D World a 4.5 out of 5. It's a super fun game, really. The level design is great, there's tons of variety, and it's super creative. And it's only brought down by the game looking kind of weird sometimes and being just a little generic at times. But all in all, I really do highly recommend this one, and with Bowser's Fury coming onto the Switch, that's the perfect opportunity to. Because I really don't blame you if you don't want to buy a Wii U in 2020, it's pretty embarrassing. We're here. We're finally here. We're at the final game we have to talk about in this whole entire series. Super Mario Odyssey. Dude, so they make the hair on Mario's head super realistic. So they did the exact same thing with poor old Yoshi? So, Super Mario Odyssey. Odyssey's story is just as you would expect, but it does something here that the other Mario games don't. See, in other Mario games, you go through the whole opening cutscene, and the whole time, you just know Peach is gonna get kidnapped. It's the most predictable thing in the universe, yet they continue to show it every single Mario game. But in Odyssey, no, none of that. In Mario Odyssey, they just skip everything you already know and get straight to the good stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Mario controls the best that he ever has in Odyssey. He has pretty much every move that Mario has ever had in a game, and on top of that, they added Cappy and a ton of moves. So yeah, they have a few movement options in this one. The kingdoms are super creative, but sometimes they can look a little too colorful, such as in the Cascade Kingdom and in the Lunch Kingdom. I don't know, it just kinda hurts my eyes. The captures in this game are super creative and fun to use, but there are some of them that just kinda feel like they didn't get fleshed out enough. Most of them just have weird quirks and they just kinda control weird. Don't get me wrong, they're fun to use, but I feel like things just kinda add up to make them worse. But another good thing I like about Odyssey is that when you die, you don't lose lives. Instead, you lose coins, and coins are used to buy outfits. Personally, I don't care too much about outfits, but I know that a lot of other people really like them, and it is a fun addition. The boss fights in Odyssey are mixed. Some are pretty generic, like the Brutals, I guess, whose heads you just have to jump on a few times, but a few of them are absolutely breathtaking. For example, check out this hyper-realistic dragon, or this boss whose hands you have to capture and then drive right back into them. But in the end, I give Super Mario Odyssey a 4 out of 5. I know it may have sounded like I talked a lot about the negatives of this game, but I really do love Odyssey. It's creative, original, and controls well. I do wish some of the bosses were less generic, and it was a bit less colorful at times, but other than that, Super Mario Odyssey is great. We did it! We reviewed every mainline Mario game. And sure, there are a lot of games I may have left out that you could argue are mainline, but I kept this series very strictly only mainline games. You know what this means? All that's left to do is to give my top 10 Mario games list. A few rules for the list. Obviously, I'll keep this list at Mario games I talked about in this series. Like, duh, that's a no-brainer. The only other rule that I'll include is it'll only be Mario games I've played, so that means I can't include Mario Land 1 or 2. Fortunately, those are the only mainline Mario games I haven't played before. Also, I was gonna say no Mario 64, but I think that's just a given at this point. Sorry to all you Mario 64 fanboys for having to listen to me rant about it. Anyways, let's finally start the list. In 10th place we got Super Mario Bros. 2. Mario 2 is a fantastic game that isn't afraid of being different, and that's what I admire most about it. The main issue is that it's hard for me to like Mario 2 when really, I'm playing Doki Doki Panic. I don't know if anyone else is bothered by this, but personally, I am. Oh yeah, also it has Birdo and several other Mario staples, and it has Shy Guys that you can pick up and eat, so that's kinda cool. Anyways, on to the next game! In the 9th spot is Super Mario Bros. This one's main problem is being hard to come back to. If you watch the first episode of this series, you know that it's like Smash Bros 64 because it's super bare bones, just because of all the entries that came after it added. But apart from that, Super Mario Bros is a good game with good level design and controls that aged well. And yes, the Mario 1 controls are way better in Mario Maker, but the original ones are fantastic for the time, okay? In 8th place is Super Mario 3D Land. People can underestimate 3D Land, you know? They just think of it as one generic Mario game on the 3DS and not much more. But if you actually play it, you'll know that it's actually a very fun platformer, and it's exactly what you'd want from a handheld 3D Mario game. It has good controls, level design, good almost everything. In 7th place is New Super Mario Bros. On the DS. New Super DS was Mario's first 2D game for a very long time. The main reason anyone ever really hates on this one is because of all the entries in the series that came after it. But if you ignore all that, New Super Mario Bros. DS is a great game, and its only real problem being the final boss fight. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I recommend this one. Ranking it at number 4 is Super Mario Sunshine. While I don't personally love this one as much as Gamer27, sorry not sorry, Super Mario Sunshine is still a blast. FLUDD is fun to use, the cutscenes are cheesy but good, and the beach theme can be very relaxing at times. I give it a big thumbs up and my recommendation. Please don't get mad at me for putting Mario 3 this low on the list, but I just don't like it nearly as much as you guys do. Mario 3 is a great game, really. The level design is awesome, the music is catchy, yada yada yada. Mario 3 is a great game, I recommend it. But please don't kill me in the comment section, I'm too young to die. Next on the list is Super Mario Odyssey. Sure, the game looks a bit too colorful at times, and some of the boss fights are too bland. But clearly, the best part of Super Mario Odyssey is how realistic they rendered Mario's hair. I mean, the best part of Mario Odyssey is the creative kingdoms, great controls, beautiful visuals, and fun gameplay. It's another modern Mario masterpiece that triumphs. I recommend it if you have a Switch. We're getting into the top 3 now. Just one more reminder that, of course, this is my opinion, and if you want, disagree till your heart's content. But now, moving on to number 3.
Super Mario 3D World! Meow.
Super Mario 3D World is a super fun game, and I'm proud to say it's my 3rd favorite Mario game of all time. 3 whole dimensions, dude. Although the game is a bit generic and unoriginal, I have to say, each and every character controls very smoothly, the level design is great, and all around, it's a pretty good 4.5 out of 5 game. Seriously play 3D World plus Bowser's Fury when that comes out. Super Mario World is a super great game, and it was the first game I talked about in this series that I had a nostalgic connection to, but I don't need nostalgia for this one to still be super epic. The game looks good, and it's so colorful and inviting. They had Yoshi playable for the first time ever in this one, and anything with my boy Yoshi just adds to the experience. The controls are super tight and precise, and the game isn't too easy and isn't too hard. I seriously recommend this one if you haven't played it before, it's the best. And now, before I reveal what my number 1 favorite Mario game of all time is, let me give some quick honorable mentions that I didn't mention throughout this series. They aren't really mainline Mario games, but they're close enough for me to at least give a mention to. Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Now, Mario The Lost Levels is... well, this one is 100% a mainline Mario game, but I didn't talk about it because I forgot to talk about it in the first episode, okay? I'm not perfect. But anyways, I'm not really a big fan of the Lost Levels, and I haven't really played it too much. It's fine, but the game is just too hard. 3 out of 5. Super Mario Land 2 Yoshi's Island. This one is super different for a sequel to Super Mario World. The game has a very cutesy and pleasant art style. The game's mechanics are also super different. 4 out of 5. Mario Bros. I don't know for this one. The controls are bad, but maybe they were good for the time. It's kind of fun, I suppose. I honestly have no idea for this one, okay? Let's just put it at a 3 out of 5. Super Mario Maker 1 and 2. Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker 1 was a revolutionary game for the Wii U, and Mario Maker 2 on Switch adds tons of new things. Personally, I'm not creative at all, so I don't have much fun making levels, but I do hold a lot of respect for these games. 4 out of 5. And finally, New Super Luigi U. I have actually barely played Luigi U, but from what I've played, the shorter levels are a nice change of pace, and Luigi's ability to jump higher is pretty cool. I also like how you can play as Nabbit. 4 out of 5. Now, with all those honorable mentions out of the way, we're here. The number 1 best mainline Mario game, in my opinion, is... Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, this may not have been a big surprise to you, but I'm sorry. I love Super Mario Galaxy. I'm counting 2 here as well. Honestly, I do prefer Galaxy 2 more than Galaxy 1, but I lump them together because of how similar they are. Mario Galaxy has absolutely amazing story, gameplay, and galaxies. But the thing that sets Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 apart from all the rest is this one thing: atmosphere. People often overlook how important atmosphere in video games is, and the atmosphere in these games, it's grand, it's epic, and at times, it can be flat out breathtaking. And on top of that, it has good music, story, controls, good everything. And that is why Super Mario Galaxy is not only my favorite Mario game ever, but also my favorite video game of all time. Whew, I did it! I finished reviewing every mainline Mario game, and what ended up being on top was Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. I just want to say a big thank you to you guys. Thanks a ton for watching this series. Making these videos was seriously some of the most fun I've had on this channel, period. But the series isn't quite over yet. The next and final episode will be a video essay all about the game I picked at number 1, which is Super Mario Galaxy, and why it's my favorite Mario game, and why it's my favorite video game of all time. So remember to watch that episode where I gush about Mario Galaxy for a whole video, talk about Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and why they're so amazing. Thanks a ton for sticking around for this series, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.